So, I've owned the Razer Edge Wi-Fi 6GB version for a couple weeks now. What do I think of this device as compared to my Switch, Steam Deck, and Logitech G Cloud? Let's find out. The Razer Edge is essentially a chunky small tablet paired with a Kishi V2. The build is solid, especially considering its two pieces connected together. The Kishi V2 has a smaller footprint than the V1, which means it will fit into your pocket better. The Edge has active vents on both the top and bottom of the device when you're holding it horizontally. It also has a 144Hz refresh screen, but that's where most of all the positive attributes end for the Edge. The fans are really loud because the vent openings are narrow. As air gets pushed through these vents, the wind noise becomes quite higher pitched as compared to the Steam Deck or the Switch. I find this to be quite annoying, but I suppose it does help with lowering the temperature of the Edge device. I'm pretty disappointed with the Razer Edge, to be honest. The Edge CPU benchmark is roughly 50% lower than that of an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and even lower than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The Razer Edge's true single-core performance is somewhere between an iPhone 8 and the iPhone XR. Both the iPhone 8 and the XR are about 4 to 5 years old, so that's how good the Razer Edge is when it comes to single-core performance. I just found it to be much more price-effective to just buy the Razer Kishi V1 for $41 and slap it on your main phone. It will perform better than this Razer Edge. As long as your phone is newer than an iPhone 10, it will be able to beat the Razer Edge in performance, and it will cost even a fraction of the price. This video is sponsored by my other channel. I have another channel where I review the most exciting personal electric vehicles, such as electric skateboards and one wheels. These things are so much fun. If you are thinking about buying one, head over to my channel and check them out. Now back to the Razer review. My next complaint is about the Razer Kishi V2 controller. The Kishi V2 has so many improvements, but at the same time so many regressions. For example, the footprint got smaller, which means if you are holding the device, the thumbstick will be too close to the root of your thumb instead of the middle of your finger, which is one of the ideal places to hold your thumbsticks. In order to hold the thumbsticks properly, you must not grip the controller. As a result, leaving dead space between your hands and the controller, which really defeats the purpose of making the controller footprint smaller. The other complaint I have regarding the Kishi V2 is the thumbstick itself, which feels smaller and shorter and with less resistance than the first generation. They feel almost like the Nintendo Switch controller's thumbsticks, which is too close and too short to be playing FPV games effectively. When compared to the V2's thumbstick, the V1s feel much stable and very smooth with plenty of resistance, which feels more like an Xbox controller thumbstick. Lastly, the buttons on the V2 are very clicky and loud as compared to the V1. If you're trying to play a game in the same room with another person, say like a sleeping baby or sleeping wife or sleeping roommate, they won't be able to sleep. It's quite loud and clicky. The design of the Razer Edge also screams contradiction to me. The Razer Edge device is angular and blocky, and yet the screen has these massive rounded corners that just looks contradictory and out of place. What's worse is that the FPS counters on Steam Link and other platforms would be blocked by these non-existent pixels. They should have made the screen a real rectangle with corners. I see no advantages for gamers whatsoever with this rounded design feature, as it blocks information near the corners of this device. The screen size and shape is also problematic, being a streaming device. It is much longer than the standard screen size required for streaming services. As a result, you get a smaller resized square screen on services like Xbox Ultimate, which makes the game content really hard to see. It just bothers me so much that the so-called streaming device didn't design the screen ratio to fit the standard streaming screen size for major streaming platforms. Look at the Logitech G Cloud. This has the perfect screen that plays perfectly for Xbox cloud gaming and other streaming services. The battery standby is terrible too. With all background apps turned off, my Edge device loses roughly 30% battery every 24 hours on standby. Maybe they will patch this in the future, but right now it is not a good pickup and play device, because if you don't charge it in 3 days, it will not have enough batteries to play anything. It will probably be dead. I even tried to restart the device and not open any apps after the restart and then test how many days it will last. I still get the same huge battery drain. The screen is also incredibly not bright. I found myself often moving the brightness adjustments to nearly 80 to 90% in a normal lit room, while I would only use 40 to 50% on my iPhone 13 Pro Max in the same lighting condition. If you play the Edge device outside in direct sunlight, the screen contents wouldn't be visible at all or really hard to see, which defeats some of the purposes of a mobile gaming device, which is play anywhere you want. Lastly, this device that came out in 2023 cannot max out graphical settings for modern mobile games. Despite calling itself the ultimate Android gaming handheld, its limited GPU is out of date even before it left its packaging. When playing demanding games such as Diablo Immortal, I can't even select all the higher graphic selections. It simply does not have enough RAM to do so. At least the Wi-Fi 6GB version does not. However, you could get the 5G version to bump up your RAM, but I don't think it's worth the extra $200 just to bump up your RAM. Right now, if you do select everything on highest setting in Diablo Immortal, it will start to stutter after a while, which is not ideal for a brand new gaming device aimed to play Android games. Let's be honest, for $599 you are better off to just buy a Steam Deck at this point and pocket hundreds of dollars of savings. Also, as monthly LTE fees will cost you an additional $15 a month for the rest of this device's useful life. Unless you need this device to act as a dedicated tool to play emulators that's separate from your phone, I would recommend you just pick up the Razer Kishi V1 for $45 and stick it on any iPhone that's newer than an iPhone 8 Plus, and you would have a better gaming experience and you would save yourself $355. Your phone can play everything the Razer Edge can. All the cloud games, stream from your PC via Steam Link, and play all the latest Android games locally just as well, in most instances better. Also, there are much better alternatives such as the 64GB Steam Deck at $399, or the Logitech G Cloud at $100 cheaper, or the Nintendo Switch starting at $200 for some great Nintendo exclusives. At this point, with so many problems on the Edge device and so many alternatives for your wallet, I cannot recommend the Edge to any serious gamer. And let me know what you think of the Razer Edge device, and let me know if you agree with my assessment or not. Thanks, and please subscribe. See you next time. This video is sponsored by my other channel. I have another channel where I review the most exciting personal electric vehicles, such as electric skateboards and one wheels. These things are so much fun. If you are thinking about buying one, head over to my channel and check them out.